What's up guys, today we're going to be taking a look at the ESAB Sentinel A50 welding helmet. I have been using this helmet for 3 years, and this video to many of you may seem random, but I am making this video because I personally wish I had this video when I was going to buy this helmet. Most of the reviews on YouTube are coming from people that have just bought the helmet and they've only been using it for a week or a month. And when it comes to welding helmets, you kind of want to know if the thing is going to last. So I've been using this thing for 3 years. As you can see, you know, the emblems are worn down. You know, this thing is, you know, I've been wearing this thing. It's gone through hell at this point. Used it for all the processes, MIG, stick, TIG, flux core, all sorts of stuff at this point. So I feel like I've got a pretty good perspective. So let's get started. First thing that's awesome about this helmet is the look. I mean, you look like a Halo ODST Stormtrooper. This is the clear lens. The yellow lens really does make you look like Master Chief. It is dope. They definitely knew what the fuck they were doing when it came to the aesthetics of this welding helmet. Looks sick, dude. It's badass. So that's neat. That's probably the first thing everybody sees is like, holy shit, it's the Master Chief in the metal shop. So, you know, you gotta love that, right? But the next best thing is probably the viewing, the clarity in the lens. It is a true color lens, meaning that there's not a green filter or like blue filter with a lot of welding helmets. You know, you start welding and it's just everything's green or everything's blue or everything's, in some cases I saw one that was like orange. This is true color, and why I like that and why this is a good thing in my opinion is for TIG welding. In my experience using this helmet, TIG welding with the true color is a big advantage because in my case, I was welding some kind of shitty quality aluminum, and anytime I would go over an impurity, the arc would change colors. It would change from the blue arc to like green or, you know, purple or orange, or it would change all sorts of crazy colors. So that would let me know, hey, I just went over an impurity. Maybe check out that spot, or, you know, just be a little, you know, check that out later and make sure that's good to go before you move along. So that is the advantage of the true color. Also, if you make like a red line and you want to stop your weld at a very specific spot, you can use different colors, whereas if you're just using that same green tint, probably not quite as obvious as the true color. So I personally really like that. I know some people, you know, they like their green or whatever, right? So that's awesome. Another thing that I really like is the grind mode. Now, I never have to use that because I'm perfect and I never have to grind my welds ever. So, but I've heard it's great. I've heard that if you were to ever have to use a grinder, which again I never have, you just hit the button in 2 seconds. You know, hold it down for a second, it cuts on. Hold it back when you want to cut it off. Works really well. You will, I've heard, sometimes people forget to turn the grind mode back off and flash themselves. So you will do that, I've heard, from people that have had to use grinders. So that's kind of neat. Another thing, so respirators. You can wear a respirator with this helmet. The typical Miller, you know, blue and purple and pink respirator, whatever the crazy colors that thing is, that will fit over this hood very easily. You can slide the headgear forward and it'll go right over. And if you're not wearing a respirator, you know, you can get that thing closer to your face. So that works pretty flawlessly. If you have to wear a hard hat, there is a hard hat adapter from ESAB that I personally have it. It works pretty well. So hard hats, respirators, works great. I mean, they fit just right. So no issues there. The headgear is fantastic. That's probably the thing that a lot of people, they really sing the praises of, like the comfortability of this helmet. And yeah, they knocked it out of the park with the headgear. Really no issues there at all. The only potential thing that I like my hood a little tight. I know some people like to be able to, like, you know, sling their hood up, sling it down, and they don't like to go up, down. I'm one of the fucking guys that's fucking all day, up, down. I like it to be kind of solid and clicky. So for that, you will have to sort of tighten this thing up every now and then, and it gets loose. Some people like that, some people don't. But yeah, if you're somebody like me who likes it to be a little tight, you will notice that these screws do sometimes like to work themselves loose. So that definitely is a thing. But that's kind of a thing with a lot of helmets. That's just physics, really. So I'm not going to hold that too much against it. It's not ridiculous. The headset, or not headset, it's very light. So this is not the lightest welding helmet, but people will put it on and go, wow, it's really light. But in reality, they might actually have a helmet that's lighter. Why it feels so light is, well, partially it's a pretty light helmet to begin with, but also the weight balance. In my opinion, this is one of the best balanced helmets. There are helmets that are lighter than this, and but a lot of the times they're like top heavy or they're bottom heavy. Like they're not as balanced as this one is. So while there may be heavier helmets, this one, for whatever, probably due to the shape, is just, it feels good to wear. It just doesn't feel heavy just because it's all so spread out, and they did a good job with that. So yeah, overall, this helmet is pretty solid for all the processes. The only, it's a fantastic TIG welding helmet. It is a great TIG welding helmet, probably one of the best in my opinion. The only thing I really wouldn't recommend it for is probably heavy duty stick welding, particularly overhead. But that's a lot of helmets. I mean, you really sort of have to have like a stick welding helmet to survive that. I mean, when shit's falling on you, like big globs of shit, I mean, most stuff's not gonna last up to that. But if you're just, MIG welding in position or TIG welding or, your general metal shop kind of stuff, this is gonna be more than great. I have not had to replace a single thing on this helmet in 3 years. Not a single thing except for the front-facing lens. I've not replaced the inside lens. This is all the same stuff when I originally bought this helmet, and I originally bought it used, all the same stuff. But you can tell, I don't know if, you can tell that inside screen there, it's gotten some sparks hit it, and it's, it's not too bad. This is after 3 years. After 3 years, let me cut it on real quick. After 3 years, I mean, it's still pretty fucking good. But yeah, you can tell it's a little dinged up in there. But in terms of the touchscreen durability and like that kind of stuff wearing out, no issues there. I know obviously a lot of people would have some concerns, touchscreen on a welding helmet, but no issues there. All right, now let's get into the downsides. So the number one downside, and probably the thing that ESAB needs to work on if they want to sell more of these helmets, is the lenses. The lenses, they aren't bad. It's just that they're unique. They're not a standard lens size, which is fine. But that means that your employer is most likely not going to have them. Some do. Some employers are dope and they have it, right? But the thing with like the Viking helmets is they use a standard lens size. So even if your employer isn't specifically stocking lenses for Viking helmets, there's a very good chance that the lenses they have will fit the Viking helmet, right? This, no, man. If it's not an A50 lens, it ain't gonna work, chief. So that's a big deal. The lenses are kind of expensive. I think if ESAB wants to sell more of these helmets, they need to really get the lens price down, or sell them in bulk to people. Like, I don't know, man. There's so many people that aren't buying this helmet. They love this helmet. They put the helmet on, they try it, they use it, they're like, dude, this is awesome. And then they see the lenses and they're like, man, fuck that, right? I'm just gonna use my whatever. So if they could really get with the distributors and maybe sell the lenses in bulk at a much lower cost, and I don't know, that's probably the biggest inhibitor. Now I'm gonna make another video in the future showing how to actually make your welding lenses last like a whole lot longer, like a ton longer. I've been using this lens for 3 or 4 months, working 50 to 60 hours a week, and yeah, same lens, 3 or 4 months. Little trick, but I gotta save that for some YouTube money. You're not getting that in this video, bitch. Yeah, the lenses are fucking annoying. Another thing that's kind of annoying, I already talked about it, but these little things on the side get loose. The sensitivity. So there's all these settings. Like another selling point is that you have all these settings, different modes. You can change how sensitive the thing is. You can make it so sensitive to where if you look up at a light bulb, it'll auto darken. If you make it less sensitive, which a situation where you'd want to make the welding helmet less sensitive to arc flash is if you're welding next to somebody over here and over there, and them arcing off is triggering your auto darkening, right? You can actually make it more sensitive to that, to where only your the stuff that's directly in front of you will activate your auto darkening. For whatever reason, if you go too if you make it too or if you turn the sensitivity way down, make it like to where it's not very sensitive at all, and is only reacting to your arc, for some reason that can make it to where there's a delay. To where there's a delay on the auto darkening. Not a crazy delay. You're not gonna like burn your eyes, but like the very, very smallest amount of delay you could have that would be annoying, but not like actually, you know, hurt you in any way. I'm sure doing it over years and years and years would have bad effects, which is why I'm listing it in this video, but there is some sort of delay that is being added to the auto darkening if you mess with the sensitivity and you make it to where it's not very sensitive. So what that means is that you'll just, I mean, all it is you just gotta make it a little bit more sensitive, and yeah, Junior over there that lights up might accidentally, you know, make your auto darkening trigger for a second, but you can even change the timing, and you can make it to where the auto darkening cuts on and off real quick, and you have a lot of customization here. So it's really not that big of a deal, but in case somebody is watching this and is wondering like, dude, why is my helmet, like why is there a delay on the auto darkening? Make it a little more sensitive. Change the sensitivity settings and see if that doesn't fix it. Another thing is that it does take batteries. I know some of these auto darkening helmets don't take batteries at all. That is a thing. It's not crazy. I think I've changed the batteries maybe 2 or 3 times in 3 years. Like it's just like the watch batteries, like just those big watch battery things that are pretty the standard. You know, if a welding helmet is to take batteries, this one takes the, what is it, 2450s or whatever it is. It's the one that they all take. So overall, I do really enjoy this helmet. It's a very good helmet. Would I recommend buying it if you do not have a if you're like a serious welder and you don't have a high-end welding helmet? I would first of all recommend a high-end welding helmet in general, like whether it's a Viking or, you know, whatever. If you know you're welding this thing, you're wearing this thing 40, 50 hours a week, you know, week after week after week after week after week, invest in yourself, you know, right? So I think this one should absolutely be on the ones to look at. But if you're already wearing like a really high-end Miller or Speed Glass or whatever sort of high-end welding helmet you have, this one you might like some things better, but I don't know if it's going to justify the cost of, you know, this thing brand new I think is still $300. I got it for $150 used, but even that's a little pricey. So if you already have like a $300 helmet, this one's probably not going to be that much better. It might be a little better in some ways, a little worse in some ways. But if you're looking for a high-end welding helmet, do not rule this one out. In terms of durability, I mean, I've had this thing for 3 years, and I haven't had to replace anything, you know, other than that outside lens. I still even have the same inside lenses, which is saying a lot, really. Same headgear. I mean, there's nothing on it that's even broken. Like, there's nothing that's even like, oh man, this thing's getting ready. I'm only gonna get another month out of this at best. No, the headgear is solid. I mean, everything on this thing is still rock solid. So, yeah, really enjoy the helmet. Hopefully you guys found this useful before you know, blow $300. And I'll see you next time. Have a good one. It'll look cooler with the, if you have the yellow lens on, it looks a little better. But yeah, I'll see you guys next time.